We're live.
Good afternoon. This is March the 24th, 2022. The House Judiciary Committee. We are having a bill hearing on one bill. Senator Carter is with us, and it's Senate Bill 691, Juvenile Justice Reform. Also with us from the Department of it's time for a break. The Department of Juvenile Services, Betsy Tolentino, Deputy Secretary, is here as well, who can tell us about 691 and how it is different from the bill that we passed out of the House. They made changes in the Senate. So we'll go ahead with Senator Carter for 3 minutes, please.
Thank you, Chairman Clippinger, and thank you for your service on the Juvenile Justice Reform Council, as well as Delegates Crutchfield and Delegate Pippi. And thank you, Judiciary Committee, for passing out a clean juvenile justice reform bill. We appreciate that because a lot of thought and hard work and expertise went into the recommendations that this commission made. The recommendations represent the best practices for the juvenile justice system and the needed reforms. And so I appreciate the work that you did. The Senate did change the bill in some ways, and I'll just, as the chairman said, I'll highlight the ways that the bill is different than the one that you passed. And so there were amendments in the Senate. So the changes are the floor of juvenile jurisdiction remains 13 for everything, but for children as young as 10, if they are accused of a crime that if they were an adult would be a crime under 14-101, crimes of violence, the juvenile court would have jurisdiction over them under the Senate amendments. The other amendment is the initial bill as you passed and as the commission recommended had that allowed for the disposition of a second time handgun before eligibility to be under commitment to the Department of Juvenile Services. The Senate passed a bill, or passed the bill with an amendment that allows for a first time handgun offense to be under the juvenile court jurisdiction, regardless of the age. Another amendment that added that for a life crime, probation can be extended until juvenile court jurisdiction is terminated at age 21. This was actually a technical change that was necessary because it more accurately reflected our recommendations and was just an oversight, I believe, in the initial bill. And the other amendment allows for continued probation for a youth if the youth is violated for substantive non-technical violation, which we all believe that the bill could have happened anyway under the original bill. Those were committee amendments. Additional floor amendments removed mandatory informal supervision for all first-time misdemeanor and non-violent felonies, and removed probation caps for conduct which would be considered crime of violence under 14-101 if it were adults, meaning that probation can be extended until the end of juvenile court jurisdiction until 21. So it doesn't touch the misdemeanors and the finite terms that we had in place for those. It's only dealing with the most severe crimes, and it would extend the court's discretion to extend probation until 21, which we also believe the court could have likely done under the initial bill, and especially under the committee amendments, which as well. So with that, again, I thank you for passing a clean bill and for all your hard work. And I look forward to getting a bill out of here this year, because I think it's a critical bill for reforming our juvenile justice system and avoiding recidivism and treating children as they should be. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Ms. Tolentino for, let's say, a couple minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and members of the committee. I just want to add just one additional piece of information as it relates to the amendment that removed the mandatory informal supervision for all first-time misdemeanors and non-violent felonies. It just removes that mandatory piece. The department can still go ahead and do an informal supervision for misdemeanor and non-violent felonies. And we can actually, under the bill, do that without approval from the state's attorney's office. So we can still do this. It's just that it's just not mandatory. Thank you.
That was less than 2 minutes. Are there any questions for Senator Carter or Ms. Tolentino? Okay, hearing none. We thank you all very much. Well, I'll go ahead and ask the question. I mean, Senator Carter and then Ms. Tolentino, are you satisfied with the bill as it stands right now? That may be a stupid question, but hey, why not ask it?
Well, it took me a while to come along with some of the amendments, but I'm satisfied with it. I mean, I thought that we produced an incredibly great product to begin with, but if this is what is required to get this bill passed and put these needed reforms in place, I'm content with it. Thank you.
Thank you.
And I echo Senator Carter's remarks. The bill does a lot to reform the juvenile justice system. It will make changes in children's lives in June when it becomes effective. It accomplishes many of the things the commission sought to do. And so we are satisfied with the bill as it stands.
Right. Delegate Crutchfield with a question.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just for either one of you, Senator Carter or Betsy, can you guys talk to me a little bit about the second amendment that was added on regarding changing the handgun offenses and the penalties around that a little bit? You can just elaborate on how that came about, you know, and just describe it for us one more time, please.
So the amendment came about, so what the council recommended was no misdemeanor offenses could be the reason that you get sentenced or have a disposition of an out-of-home placement. The exception to that the council agreed to was that if you had a second time handgun violation, so your first misdemeanor handgun violation could not result in an out-of-home placement, but your second one could. And Senator Carter, please add if you need to, but the JPR committee had some concerns with just not allowing the judge to have the discretion over the first time possession of a handgun violation. So that's how they got to it. So it'd just be the misdemeanor handgun violations are able to result in an out-of-home treatment program. Last year, we had 9 placements for a handgun violation. So the judge would still have their discretion to do probation or anything else, but they would be allowed to use an out-of-home treatment placement.
All right. Are there further questions? All right, seeing none, we thank you both very much for coming and testifying today. And that concludes the testimony on Senate Bill 691. Committee, there are several members of the committee who have to go and testify in front of the Senate. So we're going to give them the chance to go across the street and do that. We will have a voting session at 2:30, which should give people enough time, including Delegate Bartlett, who may be over there right now, to present their bills and then come back. Please, if you are in the Senate or going to the Senate, please let committee staff know so that we can just keep track of you and so that we can be ready to go at 2:30. So thank you all very much. That concludes the bill hearing portion for today for House Judiciary.